I'm going to go ahead and get started with easing project setup with CTC's View Creator. My name is David Geer, and I have over 27 years in the AEC industry. I've worked as a designer in various architecture and engineer firms, and recently spent the last 5 years as a virtual design and construction coordinator for a general contractor. I specialize in Revit, Navisworks, AutoCAD, construction documents, and more. With these experience, I can become an essential part of your company's team throughout our team augmentation services. For inquiries, please contact your sales representative for more information. Our agenda today will be to learn the View Creator, how it can help us create plans and RPC views through combinations of levels, view templates, and phasing. We're going to access the View Creator, go over the interface, set up levels, and generate views. At the core features, we have the ability to manage levels, create plan views based on view templates, duplicate views, generate dependent views using a scope box within our core features. And if we get down to our detailed features, we have the ability to control naming conventions, control abbreviations, generate phase, elevations, and schedule views, generate 3D work sets isolation views, duplicate views as a selection multiple times. And with that, let's examine the view to a kill. So I've got Revit open here, and I'm just going to go in and create a new project based on my company's template. Your template can be big or small, just depends on what your company is going to use. And I'm going to come over here to the CTC tab. And in the CTC tab, we have our CTC BIM project suite. And I'm going to go over and find the View Creator icon. And I'm going to go ahead and launch it. Excuse me. And as you can see, it went ahead and generated the View Creator dialog box. First and foremost, I'm going to come over here to my options. And in my options, I'm going to come over and ask it to remember the size and proportion of the window. As I'm using my naming conventions, how do I want to handle my separator element, and what do I need a space before and after that element? And as I'm going through, do I want it to refresh the elevations tabs and the sheet tabs as we produce more information? I'm going to go ahead and OK to close it. And I'm going to come over to our sheet phase abbreviations. So as we go in and create more phases, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to have EX for existing and NC for new construction, not NM, MC, or do we not want to have an abbreviation? I'm going to go ahead and hit save now. And we have the different tabs here. We got our levels tab, our plans/ceilings tab, our elevations tab, our dependent views, which you'll notice is there's nothing in here. We have to create a scope box to generate this. Any schedules, if your template doesn't have schedules in it, this will not be populated. Our sheets and titles, and based on my template, I at least have one sheet in here. Any work sets, once you enable work sets, any duplicate views that you wish to do, and any view templates that you have in your template. With that, I'm going to go into creating our levels. So I'm just going to come in and add a level here and call that. And I'm going to come in and actually just cut that to my clipboard so that I can save myself some time and energy. And I'm going to add an additional 10 feet to these levels. I'm going to come down here and create and update levels. And it's going to tell me that it created 3 new levels and updated none. But you'll notice in the project browser that there's no new floors created. I'm going to go ahead and close out of the View Creator just for a second and go to any one of the elevation views. And you can see that it went ahead and generated our elevation markers. So right now they are annotative level markers and no floor plans associated. I'm going to go back into our View Creator now, and I'm going to go to the Plan and Ceiling tab. And in here, I can filter by discipline or filter by all the views and view templates that we have associated. But right now, I'm going to use just the floor, structural, and area plans to filter out my view templates. I'm going to come over to where it says level, and just to the left of it, there, that little gray box there, I'm going to right click so I get the options to select all or check selected, and it's going to go in and select all my level views. Should I wish to change this out for an abbreviation, this is where I'm going to add it. I'm going to come over here and apply an architectural template, and then I must choose one of these phases, whether it's new construction or existing, or this will not work. I'm going to go ahead and hit add, and you'll notice that it's in the naming format, it's actually taking the level, the view template, and the phase that it is in, and it used the abbreviation NC for my new construction. Well, if that is not my naming convention for my company, I'm going to come in and hit remove real quick. Yes, I want to remove everything. I'm going to come back and uncheck architectural template. I'm going to say no plan view template. And I'm going to come over here to the new construction and say no abbreviation and hit add. And you'll notice it added all the levels I created earlier. And you'll also notice that level 1 and 2 are highlighted in red. They're highlighted in red to let you know, hey, these items have already been built. They're going to come up and give you an error. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create views real quick, and it's telling me, hey, there's 2 that failed, and this is the reason why it failed. They already exist. Thank you very much. I knew that, but go ahead and do that anyway. So now, if I want to, I'm going to come back and hit architectural plan, and I'm going to say no abbreviation and hit add. And I'm going to create these views as well. It says 5 created, none failed. I'm going to close out. The reason why I want to close out here is I want to go back to level 1, and in my properties dialog box, I want to show you where it says view template says none. If I go to level 1 architectural plan, you'll notice that it says view template architectural plan. So it actually went in and applied that view template to these views. That's going to make sure that when my team is working with me, that I have the right objects turned on and any overrides preset. Excuse me. Well, if I do that for floor plans, I might want to come back in and do that for my reflected ceiling plans. Again, I must choose a phase. If I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and create those, and it created all those views for me. And now I have those in. Well, I'm going to close that out for just a minute here. And I'm going to bring in an AutoCAD file that would be, I'm just going to use this as an example of what we might use as a napkin sketch to go from our napkin sketch from schematic design and start developing our design development here. And I'm going to go navigate to where I have my file located here. And I'm just going to bring that in. And so now we've got what we know, hey, here's our layout. This is the project we're going to start creating. Well, we've noticed that when we did this, we only got information that it was only going to be 5 floors. Well, now we're getting new information saying, well, hey, this is really going to be 8 floors with a basement. So now I'm going to come back into my CTC tools. I'm going to go back to my View Creator here. And now I'm going to come back into my levels, and I'm going to adjust my heights from floor to floor and then add additional levels. So my second floor is going to be 18 feet. My third floor is going to be 30 feet. My fourth floor is going to be 42 feet. My fifth floor is going to be 54 feet. And then I need to come in here and add a level 6 at 66 feet. a level 7 at 78 feet. And you'll notice as I'm typing, I'm just hitting 78 and enter. The default is leaving me at feet, saving me a little time and not having to worry about what I want to do. Say 90, and I'm going to come over here and create a roof at 102 and a parapet level. Oops. At 107, our basement. At negative 10 feet, and our top of footing at negative 12. And so all I did was hit enter, it rearranged those. I'm going to hit create, update levels. It went ahead and updated the 4 levels that I changed the height, and now created 7 new levels. We're going to close out here and go to our east view, and you'll notice that if I pan out, it created the floors associated with our level 5 through 1. And now I need to go back in and create floor plan views that are associated with the new levels. So I can come into our plan and ceiling, and I'm going to come in here and grab our new areas here. I'm going to say new plan and no plan and new construction, no abbreviation. And it's going to go ahead and create these new views for me. And if I go back and look now, I should see all my level markers now have a floor plan associated with them, with the ones that I chose to do. So if I wanted to now, I could go in and create elevation views based on existing or new conditions. Well, it's already got new conditions, so therefore I don't need to create it. So if I wanted to, I would come in and create an existing. In this scenario, I don't necessarily have an existing type feature that I wish to do, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone. I am going to come over to our duplicate views now that I have at least an initial floor plan set for each of the levels. And in here, you can filter by type, and I'm just going to say floor plans here just to kind of limit my variation. I don't necessarily want the 3D views. And in here, what I want to do now is I want to come over here, and I could come in here and on this little gray box, right click and say select all, or I can click different ones here. I'm going to uncheck the site, and I don't have any associated there. So in the bottom, you'll see where it says duplicate view settings. I can duplicate or duplicate with detailing. So if I've already gone in and done some work, I can get those annotation symbols in. Well, in here, matter of fact, I'm actually going to uncheck the architectural plans, because maybe I want to create one that is our dimension plans. And I'm going to go ahead and say duplicate views. And I went ahead and created those views. And now I'm going to come in and create a furniture plan. And I'm going to go in and create those views. Now, you'll notice that in the project browser, it's showing dimension plan and in brackets 1. Well, that's kind of by design, because if I come back in here and I take out the suffix in here and I duplicate these, you'll see that it created level 1 bracket 1. If I come in and do it again, it's going to go to level 1 bracket 2. And that's to keep from getting errors as you're duplicating these views. Now that I have everything kind of laid out how I want, I can go in and make future ones here. I'm going to come in and assign these to a particular view template. That way my team is working on the sheets and the drawings the way I want them to be. Certain things turned on, certain things turned off, whatever overrides may be. If you look at the column on the left, these are the items that do not have a view template associated with them. If you look on the column on the right, these are floor plans or views that have a template associated with them. So all I have to do now is I'm actually going to get out of it so that it will refresh here for a second and come back in because I'm not seeing some of the views that I want to add. So I'm going to come over here to the view template. Now I'm seeing my dimensions that we created earlier and my furniture plans, if I spelled furniture right, and I probably didn't. So I'm going to come over here and click and hold and drag those over to the architectural plans. Now I'm going to close out of that and click on the, oh, you know what? I forgot to hit apply. So I'm going to come back in, and as you noticed, because I forgot to hit apply, there's no view template applied. So I'm going to come back in here and select these, click, hold, and drag, and this time apply my changes so that it actually goes in, and it's telling me, hey, you successfully applied these view templates in. And I'm going to close out, and then you notice as soon as I closed out, it went ahead and applied that view template to our basement dimension plan view. I'm going to come back in real quick and see, yes, they are now in our right-hand column. And I'm going to close out and go back to our level 1 and close out some of these other views. And the reason why I want to come out here is I want to take another scenario for you, is you get in and you go realize, hey, at an 1/8 inch scale, this model is not necessarily going to fit on my printed sheet, or I might need to bump up the scale, and that's not going to fit, all of it's not going to fit on a printed sheet. So how am I going to do that? Well, one, I'm going to duplicate as dependent and drag those over. Well, if I come in under my view and create a scope box, and I'm going to set the scope box as area A. I'm going to set the height to at least 110 feet so that it takes it all the way up. And I'm going to go just shy of our grid F column there and come to the right. And just to save myself some time, because I have the size that I want, I'm going to come over and use my copy tool and drag it and just make sure I have some overlapping between my grid F. And you'll notice that Revit went ahead, because I named one area A, it went in and automatically did area B. So what that allows me to do is utilize the CTC software and come in and use View Creator here. And I can come over now, and my dependent views tab has now populated here. And so I can come in and say, check all. Now, I don't necessarily want the site to be split up, but I want everything else to be split up. And what that's going to do is take that scope box and apply that and create crop views for all that. And while that's doing that, that is going to be every view that I have that is now a dependent view. I know it's going to be in the exact same location, whether it's the first floor, the basement, the 4th floor, the 5th floor, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out, and you'll notice in your project browser that now there's all little plus symbols in there. And I'm going to come over here. Here's area A. It's cropped it out. Here's area B. It's cropped it out. Now, if I go to the 2nd floor, you're really not going to see anything because this is just a CAD file. But if I go to area A, there's the crop file. Here's area B. And apparently, according to my view, I can't have a view range that I can see below. But if I go to the 3rd floor, I can tell you that you're not going to see anything except for that crop region boundaries, right? And so that's saves me time and headache, because I can tell you, I've done this and done my crop regions and put them in, and I eyeball them the best I can, but this really guarantees that no matter what, that I am going to have the same crop region for my dependent views that I drag over to my printed sheets. And speaking of printed sheets, I'm going to come over back into my View Creator. And in my View Creator, I'm going to go to my Sheets and Title Blocks tab. So in here, you can see that it has the first floor one in here. And because I can't minimize here, I'm going to close out of that real quick. I want to make sure that you can see in my sheets here that I only have one. And then that way, as you see, as I go through in here, you're going to see that it's going to populate that in the project browser. So I'm going to go back to my Sheets and Title Blocks tab. I'm going to hit Add Sheet. Go ahead and turn on my caps locks here. And I'm going to go ahead and do that as A102. And I'm going to go ahead and tell it to process. Went ahead and installed, created one, and it placed that in there. I'm going to close out and actually go to that so you can see that it went in and created and put my title block in there. It does not know to place those views, but it's at least going to allow me to create these sheets as needed. Well, Dave, I can do that already, right? Well, the thing is I also have this batch add sheets, and if I click on it, I can go in and type the names of what I want. Just so you don't have to see me typing all these, I went ahead and put these in a notepad, and so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste these in here. So if these are typical names that I'm using, I can have it in a notepad or Word document, save that in there, and go ahead and hit OK. You'll notice that I did not go in and add the sheet numbers in here. And there's a reason why. If I go ahead and hit process in here, it's going to auto increment off the last one I created. So I now have A103 through A109. But hey, I really need a basement view, right? Well, let's add that in there. And maybe I want it to be a little different. Maybe I want it to be B101. And I can process that, and it places that information in there. All right. And I'm going to close that just for a second, and I'm going to come over here to our schedules, and I'm just going to open a door schedule. Yes, I know there's nothing in here. I didn't draw anything yet. So, but however, noticing that I have at least 8 floors on here that I've got to work with, right? I've got 8 floors I got to work with. Do we think all those doors are going to fit on a one printed sheet? They may not. Well, if they are not, I can come in to my View Creator and go to my schedules and come in here and say, hey, go ahead and divvy these out per level and go ahead and duplicate those for me. So I went ahead and created all my schedules for me, and now I have a schedule for each level. All right, I think that has pretty much covered everything that I really wanted to show in here, but I really hope you enjoyed learning about the View Creator tool out of the CTC BIM Project Suite. You can subscribe to ATG on social media via LinkedIn and YouTube. We have new content weekly. Your company can't afford to be without this latest information. Again, thank you for attending this webinar.